Okay.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Monique Reed. I am a second-year master's student in mechanical engineering. I focus specifically on robotics and product development. I'm currently on the thesis track in the Advanced Medical Technologies Lab. And there I'm building a medical device for product commercialization, which has been pretty cool. My experience here at the mechanical engineering department has been a pretty positive one overall. I'm happy to talk about CME, which is Committee for Equity in Mechanical Engineering. It's a pretty cool organization that has helped me kind of become more involved with the community here, and also become more involved with the mechanical engineering department as a whole. I'm a grad student committee member, master student representative on the committee for the department as well. So I represent CME on that committee, and I'm also pretty involved with NSBE, National Society of Black Engineers on campus. So if you have any questions about any of those things, feel free to join my breakout room and ask me any of those questions. But let me just talk a little bit more about CME and what we do. So it stands for Committee for Equity in Mechanical Engineering, and it's essentially a student organization that's led by graduate students. So that's one of my favorite things about the organization, the fact that students are able to make decisions semester to semester, what direction we want to go in, what our priorities are, and then present that to the department to be able to actually put that into action. And about every month we meet in a conference room, and it's a very informal meeting. We just have a discussion about any of the injustices or any of the active problems or concerns that students may have. And we discuss them, and we talk about how we can present that to the department and possibly progress forward. And I think that it's a really cool organization. Anyone can join in the department. You do not have to be in any specific lab, and it's a low commitment organization as well. So you can join as you please. I know a lot of people have research or class commitments, so we understand that, and we just encourage any involvement that you can possibly give. And our main agenda is to improve recruitment, retention, and the well-being of underserved or underrepresented students. So not just people of color or women, but also people that maybe are experiencing financial challenges, people with disabilities, anyone who is maybe in the minority of any particular group in our department. We want to reach those students. So what do? We have various on-campus community building activities. So you can see here in these pictures, this is from our Earth Day event last year. We had pots and painting, and as well as, I guess, potting of different cactuses. And it was a really cool, pretty chill event. It was outdoors. It was like a picnic. And we just really wanted students to come out of their research labs on a Friday afternoon and be able to build that community, connect with each other in a more informal setting. And we have these social events bi-weekly. So that was one example of a larger event, but we also have smaller lunches as well as like ice cream socials for just like smaller breakaways from your day-to-day routine as a researcher or student on campus. Financially, we also offer support to students through CME. We have two different types of awards. PhD and master students are eligible for these awards. One of them is the Emergency Support Award, which essentially is an award for students facing unexpected challenges. So this could be, just any random event that might happen. We know that grad school is a very expensive task, and you are not working, so anything can happen. And we just want to offer that support to students throughout the semester, that they have something to turn to when they need it. We also offer service awards at the end of each semester to reward students that are committed to DEI and service on campus. And that is nomination or self-nomination based. And I just wanted to share some more pictures of CME and what we do. So on the right here, you can see we just had our pumpkin carving event, which is a really cool event that we had a few weeks ago. And this is actually in our new renovated mechanical engineering space. So that's a space that we hope to foster community and also just, I guess, be able to reach students in a more informal setting. And then we also have, we've translated our events to off campus as well. So in the bottom right, you can see that's at a brewery. We had a group of us come out there, and it's not a part of CME really, but just like a lot of CME faces are there, people that are really involved in our department. We hope to continue to be friends outside of class. And then on the left, you can see the STEM launch. I was a part of this really cool experience volunteering at a middle school where we got to teach middle schoolers about an engineering topic and introduce them to just engineering as a whole in an underrepresented community somewhere, I think further south in Colorado. And further down, you can see also some students came to visit CU Boulder, and we had like a robotics research showing. So we have a lot of K through 12 outreach events, which is sort of under the umbrella of CME. And I don't want to talk too much about the K through 12 because Austin will kind of give us a little bit more information about that in his presentation, but that's another way to also get involved off campus through CME as well. So that's all I had about.
How's that? Everybody can see that, right? Good.
Looks great.
All right. Well, I get to be the one to talk to you about some events that we've been doing on campus. So let me start with an introduction. My name is Austin Hayes. I'm a fifth-year PhD student here at CU in the mechanical department, and my research area focuses on additive manufacturing and looking at 3D printing specifically for wind turbines and wind turbine generators. So today, unfortunately, one of the co-leads for the outreach stuff, Ronnie, wasn't able to make it today. So I get the pleasure of kind of giving her PowerPoints here and showing you some of the stuff that we've been doing. So the relationship between CME and the outreach is a pretty close relationship. And it kind of started from some of the DEI grants that the mechanical engineering department gave. This was about 2 years ago. And that resulted in two programs. One was the CME and STEM program, and the other one was the Triple U Fair. And so let me start and going through it. So the CME and STEM program really started in order to kind of look at the role model effect and look at also towards the seventh graders, so the middle school experiences, as well as the high schoolers. So what that is, for instance, is being able to see yourself in a position of engineering is important. And so if I show up to the school, for instance, I'm not going to be able to connect as well with all the students that are in that classroom. And so we thought it was really important in order to have the middle schoolers in these areas that we're doing, in these underrepresented areas, see somebody that looks like them was the important part of these types of outreach events, and show that anybody can become an engineer and really form those connections between the school districts as well as us as the grad students over at CU. So we did a couple of things. One was the outreach towards the middle school and the high school students. So we worked with a couple of different school districts. One was the Arupe School District, that was a high school. And then also forming a strong relationship between the Denver City School Districts, the public schools that are here in Denver, which encompasses actually thousands of students that are in Denver. It's a really big school district as a whole. And so what we did is we went into the school program and into their programming and really designed classes that are both for summer programs as well as for the freshman classes, and then also hosted some CU field trips. And one of the key things here that we did is to form the relationships both with the students and with the teachers that are working at these schools. So having lasting connections With those teachers was something that was really important for us to get into the school districts and really understand how a teacher's mind works, because at least for me, that was something that was new, was just seeing firsthand what a teacher's experience is. And the answer is that it's very hard to be a teacher. And so that was something that I think jumped out at me from watching the students and seeing how all these interactions happen. So another program that we did was the Transition to High School Summer Program. And so this was mandatory for students in eighth grade at the school. And what we did is we visited every day for a week, and that was in July, so July of last year, and found some a project, which in this case was simple machines, and built and then tested the mousetrap race cars. And so here's some images from that. Another one then is the freshman class programming, right, where we really picked on the freshmen of high school in order to work with. And so we ended up working with them throughout the 2021 to 2022 school year, and took advantage of what the different focus areas that the mechanical engineering department has. So one is the robotics focus area, and we wanted to look at bio-inspired robotics then, and built these kind of the battle robot type of things for the students to be able to explore. And that involved a field trip as well as a visit over in April. So another thing I'm going to talk about is the Triple E Fair, which is the Early Engineering Exposure Fair. And the goal of this was to look at the middle school route. So we wanted to go to the seventh graders before they had to choose what the program they wanted to get into. Did they want to go into engineering? Did they want to go into the arts? Or did they want to go into different sciences? And so we wanted to be able to expose them to engineering early, before they might have made up their mind of whether or not they could or couldn't do it for whatever types of outside pressures that existed. And so the school we targeted was called STEM Launch, which was in Thornton, Colorado, which is probably about 20 minutes or so. It's a suburb of Denver, I would say. And we focus on this school because it's a Title I school, which means 70% or more of the students are eligible for free or reduced lunch. And so we really thought that we would be able to make more of a difference by going to the school to be able to maybe give the kids an experience that they might not normally have because of the costs of having a field trip or the cost of having instructors come to the school. And so one thing to note about this is that these experiences were net zero for the school. So we really wanted to make sure that the money went towards the students in order to meet them where they were at. So I think the easiest way to do this is to go through and just share some pictures of the event. So what we did for this one is we went into the classroom for 3 or 4 times, 3 or 4 classes, and that was in order to establish a relationship with the students and have them recognize us, because that was important in order to have them open up and really be able to recognize us as a resource that they could use to talk to about engineering. So we gave some lectures, in this case, on sustainable design. And actually, we're just doing this. So just Tuesday of this week, we went back to the school and got to meet with the next round of kids to really continue this collaboration between STEM Launch and us. So we went to the school a couple times, and we're going to go to the school a couple more times. And then we did some interactions, some panel discussions, and talked about what is engineering in the sense of, in this case, it was structural engineering. And we looked at criticism, different skills that we get as an engineer or that we get as researchers, and tried to explain that to the student as well as forming those relationships. And then it culminated into the fair portion. So what this really was a science fair. And so we invited the kids to come to CU Boulder. We made it net zero for the school, so all the busing costs were covered from the ME department. And then we had a science fair where we showcased all the different research that goes on. So we can see, there's a liquid nitrogen tank there from the material science department. In the bottom, that would be left-hand corner, you can see JB with the Prusa printers. So we looked at we did a project on lunar gravity and printing that he got to talk on. There's some cockroaches there that the students got to touch from one of the bio labs that's here with Kaushik. What else we got? We got a wind turbine there from the collegiate wind competition team that volunteered. And then everybody's favorite was in the top right there, where you see the robot dog that was from a DARPA competition that took the show. So everybody really loved that event as well. And that's really all I have. But yeah, so that's some of the outreach events. The outreach events really are a good way in order to connect with the other students, right? Where a lot of people, for instance, I don't think I met Monique until the outreach events last year for the Triple E Fair. And it was just a great experience to get to know more of the people in the community of the mechanical engineering department, and do something fun. We all had a blast doing the outreach type of events, especially to go meet with the students. So with that, I want to transfer over to Parker, and Parker is the lead TA. So he's going to get to talk about what exactly does the lead TA do within the mechanical engineering departments at CU, and how does that represent and relate to different community outreach stuff or the community events that go on in the department.
Awesome. Thank you, Austin. Can everyone hear me and see my screen?
Yep.
Cool.
You're good.
Okay, so I'm Parker McDonald, and I'm a second-year PhD student in mechanical engineering, and I'm working in the animal-inspired movement. Can you hear me now? Okay. Under Kouchik.
My bad.
No worries. And in the Department of Mechanical Engineering. And so to add to what Austin and Monique was saying, so previously I got to take part in CME, which is really exciting. And we actually got to take some of the robots that my advisor had actually, one of the people he worked with at his previous school, designed these like bio-inspired bug robots. And we got to bring them to some of these high schools and play around with them and build them. So it's been really cool getting to experience those other programs. And then this most recent year, I've actually switched roles into being the lead TA. That's what I'm going to talk to you about today. And as the lead TA, which we'll get into the details of a little bit, I kind of have two bosses. So I work for the Department of Mechanical Engineering, and I work for the Center for Teaching and Learning, or the CTL, as most people call it. And I have a wide range of responsibilities. So I also just included my email down below if anybody wants to send me an email afterwards, or just reach out and ask questions about CU or how you can get involved in community building here. That's just down there below. So under my first boss, so I'm responsible kind of for designing, running, and attending educational related workshops that serve both graduate students, faculty, and staff kind of throughout the college. And I also work to develop new programs within mechanical engineering that aim to improve the students' educational experience and build community. And so just for an example, some of the previous lead TA projects have included prelim exam coaching. So it's an unfortunate truth, if you're doing your PhD, you have to do a prelim exam, which can be kind of stressful for some people. And just the preparation is, there's a lot to it preparing for these exams. And so one of the previous lead TAs developed this great program where there's coaches that can kind of help you schedule your studying and just help students get together over the summer while they're preparing for their exams to make sure they're meeting, they have a study group to study with, and that they're being supported and they're working towards preparing for the exam. So that was one really cool project that's previously developed. And another program that the last lead TA developed was a mentorship program that's focused on first year PhD students coming into the program to pair them up with existing older PhD students so that they just have somebody they can go to talk to if they ever have any issues, or with TAing or classes or research. It's just a really good person to be able to go and connect with. And so as part of that, we have these really fun social events where we all kind of get together and just check in on everybody, make sure everyone's doing good, play some games. And of course, there's always food, because that's a great motivator to get people to come to these events. And then this year, I'm working on improving the kind of TA experience. So I've been a TA for a couple of years, and I want to kind of build more community around individual TAs and also just have some continuity, because every year a TA leaves and a new TA comes in, and there's a lot of knowledge that's lost in between those that transition. So I want to have TAs that are previous TAs be there to support the new TAs coming in, and then just existing TAs to have a place to talk and discuss and share ideas, so that the experience is just overall better. And especially doing this for first year students who are not only new to the program, navigating getting a PhD is hard, and you have classes and a lot of other responsibilities. So I want to make sure that people have the resources they need just to make life easier and make the transition a lot smoother. So that's for the CTL. And then within mechanical engineering, My goal primarily is to support first-year students and all years, of course, but the first-year students get the priority because they're usually the ones undergoing the biggest transition, right? And so that kind of comes in the form of the mentorship program, as I previously mentioned, which for everyone joining the program, I highly recommend joining it. It's a lot of fun. It's a great resource for meeting people and also just getting support if you ever have, a tough time that comes up. And then supporting students during the prelim exam period. That's really important because that can also be a stressful period. And people are kind of tucked away studying, and you want to make sure everybody kind of is getting back together and finding other people and communicating and talking. And then also I sit on, along with Monique, I sit on the graduate committee as another graduate student body representative. And probably the most fun part of the job is just holding social events that kind of aim to form community within the departments. So for example, last night we had a movie night. We watched Inception, which I've seen that. It's a very long movie and very, very interesting. Lots of stuff going on. So it was a really fun time. We just ordered a bunch of pizzas. There's a great new classroom in the engineering center that they just renovated that has these giant screens. So everybody showed up. We had a good time, ate pizza, hung out. And then next week we're hosting our next social event for the mentorship program. So we'll get some subs, we'll play some games and just check in to make sure everyone's doing okay and make sure they have the support they need. So in addition to that, we've held barbecues. So over the summer, we had some prelim barbecues that were super fun. A lot of people showed up to that. It was a good opportunity to build study groups and just see people's study strategies, talk with your prelim coaches, and make sure that you are, you know who they are and you know how to reach them and all of that. And so then we're doing stuff like bowling events, happy hours on Pearl Street, which is it's not super close to campus, but it's walkable. You can get on the bus. And it's just a fun spot where there's a lot of restaurants and bars. So there's been multiple social events there as well. And of course, I'm always looking for suggestions for new ideas and events. So if anybody has any ideas, I'm all ears. So that's pretty much all I had for now. And again, thanks for listening and joining. And with that said, I'll just turn it back over to Vera.
Thank you so much, Parker. That concludes our presentations. And now I'll go ahead and stop recording and let everyone go into a breakout room to learn more about each of these areas.